What's going on, y'all? Mob Wife Season 6, The Last Stand, Episode 3, Hamptons Hangover. Okay, this episode really wasn't much. They gave us a lot in the first two episodes. They built up the drama, and we see what courses they gonna take this. So basically, right now, we already see they finna make Drita the villain. But, to be quite honest, Drita ain't really making herself looking no better, okay? So we have I guess we start off where they left off. They left the wine place. I was like, y'all up here acting a plump fool in this crowded place full of all these cultured, look like they cultured white folks, okay? They gonna kick y'all asses out the damn thing. And so after that, oops, okay, get that shit straight. After that, they get ready and they go to this party in the Hamptons from Carla's friend. They have a good time. Once again, we have Marissa talking about what happened. I think I can't remember who she was talking to. Probably Renee or whoever. About the issue that was going on between her and Brittany. How they resolved it for the moment. And Brittany was just over the fact that the girl was acting all uppity and shit like that and calling her a lush. And, Marissa's like, how am I be into it with somebody who didn't even know what the fuck the word lush meant until that moment when she had to look it up. So they at the party. And, of course, I feel where everybody's coming from. Okay, Marissa, I get it. You don't necessarily, because she was like, I'm trying to have a good time. I'm having a good time. But these girls, they want us to do shots. They want us to do this. Or was she talking to Big Ange? No, Big Ange was talking to Brittany. Because Brittany likes Big Ange and Ange like her, whatever. And I get both sides. I get everything because, you know, sometimes you don't need to just go out and get drunk to have a good time and all this stuff. And sometimes some people, when they go on vacation or whatever, that's just their time to just let loose and then get wild, and that's what they want to do. But you can't be obsessed at somebody or force somebody to do something that they don't want to do because you want to do it. But Marissa went on ahead and she was taking some shots or whatever and all this stuff. And at one point, everybody was just laughing in the moment. And I was like, that's all that everybody needed to do was just loosen up a little bit. Next thing you know, in the morning, the yoga lady come over that Carla has scheduled for him. I don't know why Carla scheduled this lady this early. All of them just now getting to sleep. They trying to work off their hangover. Karen was like, bitch, listen, I have a hangover that I am trying to nurse. I earned this hangover and I want to have it for another 2 hours. I said, girl, please. But I get that shit, bitch. Once, you have a good night on the town, you don't want to wake right back up, bitch. You want to wake up a few hours later after you supposed to be up, okay? You want to nurse it and just, get it out your system so you can go do it again, okay? That's what you want to do. But they was all big sports for it, and they went out there, child. The yoga lady was out there already. Big Ange was going around trying to wake everybody up because she was the first one up. And she already out there just on the mat doing the poses and stuff like that. I said, girl, she done came ready. She was like, I'm going to get my yoga on regardless. Y'all paying me for this session regardless if y'all come out here and do it. I'm finna get my shit in and I'm still getting my money for it. I was like, all right, Miss Yoga Instructor. Child, they came out there and I said, Big Ange and them titties, 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 titties. I don't know how they gonna do it. I said, bitch, if you try to do downward dog, it's gonna suffocate your ass, okay? You're gonna have more than throat problems. I was just like, ooh, I was praying for. Child, it was this one pose that they was trying to do, and Big Ann said, hell no, I'm through. I have to go. Even I think Karen or one of them brought it up about her boobs too. It was so funny. But it was cute. They was fine with that. Moving on. If I don't mention everything, it wasn't really much to mention. Back when they get back home, Renee is talking to AJ's and Andrea. Andrea, she works at this restaurant or whatever. And basically, Renee wants Andrea and AJ, I think they live together or whatever. Or I don't know if they live together right now. But she wants both of them to be back at the house, And I'm going to assume that AJ still lives with her because she kept on saying that, in his room, he be feeling this and all this stuff. And, Andrea was like, I don't want to live there. And it was like, why not? Because I feel like the place is haunted. And I'm sitting here like, girl, What? Just say you don't want to be around Renee crazy ass. That's what I'm thinking. But then, come to find out, I don't know how. I don't believe in girl. Okay, y'all tell me y'all believe in that stuff. Renee gonna go get a medium or whatever, and she said, because I think it was like somebody says like a woman up in the house or something. That's what Andrea said, and AJ was saying it's like a little girl he be hearing laughing in his room or whatever. And then as soon as the medium come up in the house, she was like, "Girl, your grandmama's still here." And then the little girl's like protection or something, or telling you that you need to, because Renee was saying how she felt like somebody hugged her, was hugging on her or something like that. And basically it was a spirit or whatever telling her you need to watch the people in your circles. And of course, soon as she said that, here go Renee. So I don't know if they trying to tell me if I need to watch Drea or if I need to watch Brittany. Bitch, why do you go straight to them two? Okay, I'm pretty sure you got other motherfuckers that's shiesty as hell in your stuff. But anyway, so I'm like, okay, Renee. Renee always just, and you know what? Listen, Renee, you better like Brittany just a little bit more now than you did, because she offered you up some information that she could have kept to yourself, because she already kind of know that you don't fuck with her like that. But I'm surprised you sat down and had dinner with her. So we had this little conversation where Big Ange, Drea, and Brittany, they came together. They was talking about what was happening at the and the Hamptons, and who got into it with who, and how Brittany and Marissa got into it. Drea talking about Marissa and how, she don't really know her, but she do feel like she got a little attitude or whatever. Mind you got Karen talking to Marissa, basically talking about Drea, saying how Drea basically snubbed her at a party or a get together, like, why you like threw me off or whatever, I don't even know you, and all this stuff like that. What is the issue? And I'm sitting here like, why y'all going back telling this stuff? I mean, it makes for good TV. It really do. But I said this is how rumor and drama get started, okay? They talking about the shit that happened in the Hamptons, and of course, I was just like, girl, Drea pissed me off this episode. And I'm gonna tell you why. And I ride so hard for Drea. But Drea, girl, you doing too much for me. In this part, you did too much for me. What was it? Karen, when they got back from the Hamptons, because everybody was having this little conversation. Child, listen, when they was in the Hamptons and it was the day after, everybody was cool, calm, copacetic, and all that stuff. Renee gonna bring up the issue between Marissa and Brittany. I said, Renee, they was calm and cool. Shut it up. You ain't even have to bring it up. She was like, you for real, y'all good for right now? And Brittany was like, yeah. Marissa was like, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Okay, let it go. I was like, oh, please don't blow it up. But they didn't blow it up. Then they started talking about Drea and the stuff that happened or whatever. And that's when Big Ann suggested y'all need to come together. Y'all need to go have a conversation and stuff like that. And that's what wound up happening. Karen was like, as soon as I get back, I'm going to talk to Drea. Girl, they get back to Staten Island, and Karen and Drea met up. Okay, Drea came there like she was finna go work out and beat some ass. She had on some flexible clothing. Karen came there in a spanked ass dress, okay? She looked like she was finna go get some afterwards, okay? I was like, we know what the agenda was. Karen was not here for the bullshit. She was like, girl, I just want to say what I gotta say and go about my merry day. I was like, all right, and the conversation basically started off like, is everything good between us? Are we okay or whatever? Because I hear that you were saying that, I'm fake and I'm phony. She was like, I'm saying everybody's a fake and a phony. And I was like, calm down, Drea. Calm down. And see, this is my thing with Drea. I just can't stand when she gets so animated and so hyped. And to me, I know it's not for every person, but sometimes with certain people, when they talk so loud, they start talking loud and trying to talk over you. It's either because they know what they're doing is, or they're saying is wrong, and the other person is saying something right, and they just not ready to admit they're false or admit that they're wrong, or that's their defense mechanism for some reason. They just want to get so loud and as if talking loud makes you right, or all that stuff. And basically within that conversation, Karen wasn't hollering at her. Drea at one point was like, do you want to fight, Karen? Do you want to fight? Do you want to fight? What you gonna do? What? I said, calm the fuck down, Drea. She went from here to here real quick. I said, calm down. In the midst of that conversation, Karen was like, so how am I fake? She was like, basically, all of y'all fake. You talked about Carla. You talked about this person. You and Renee trash Carla. Now all of a sudden y'all all cool with her. And I'm sitting here like, okay, and my thing of it is, you don't make sense, Drita, because Karen was like, you get into it with a lot of people. You got into it with me. So does that make you fake too? Because we kind of made up and we kind of cool or whatever. Bitch, Drita said we ain't friends. I said, well, thanks for letting her know that. Okay, Karen was like, thank you for letting me know that. We cool, 20 years of friendship. We're no longer friends or whatever. You know, if I see you, when you say hi, I say hi. We just gonna be cordial and it is what it is. And she walked the fuck away. I said, you know what? That's how you fucking do that. Y'all cleared that shit up, but y'all still finna be talking shit about each other, which is kind of fucked up. 20 years of friendship going down the drain. That's crazy. And I kind of saw it coming. And the way that they going back and forth on social media right now, ain't no coming back from that. But my thing of it is, Drita, you can't call them fake because they had a falling out with somebody. I can see if they only known Carla for like a few months, a year, maybe a year and a half, and they had this falling out, and they start talking crap and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden, you know, they talking crap about her to you, and then the next thing you know, right, the next day, they all up in her face like, hey girl, how you doing? You know, I can see that'd be fake and phony. But these women been friends for over 16 years. Over 16 years. And if you're gonna make something a issue, like if you real friends fight. I don't know who you are, but either you may not physically fight, but you've had moments in your friendship, if you've been friends that long, just like in any type of relationship, whether it's brother and sister, sister and sister, brother and brother, you know, family members and all that stuff, and, you know, friends and all that, you fight. You have verbal conversation and verbal altercation sometimes. Sometimes it may even turn physical. But depending on the strength of that friendship, depending on the strength and the bond of that relationship, you can come back from it. You probably will start speaking about that bitch for like a couple of months or something, if it's that bad, depending on how bad it is. And then y'all will come back and sit y'all asses down when you realize, okay, I miss my friend. This was stupid what we argued over. Let me see. I got my head on straight. Let me see what her head at. Let me be the bigger person and be the mature person and come and talk to her. Let's see, can we sit down and have an adult conversation and figure this out? Because I love this person and I still want this person in my life. I don't want all my friendship, all these years of friendship, to go down a drain over something so stupid. Okay? Now, I'm on the part though, bitch, if it gets physical between us, like really, no, we done. But, you know, so I can understand that part, you know, because, you know, Renee and Carla did get into a fight. But they still set that shit down. They must have sat down and figured out their issues or whatever, obviously. And if they're fine, why does it matter? What does it matter to you? It's all because you don't like Carla at this moment. You claim you don't really have an issue with her, but Chad, you're upset because they talk shit about her and now they cool with her. You don't know what transpired and what levels and what, you know, what they had to go through to get to a point where they can be cordial again, not only just be cordial, develop their friendship and be 100% cool again if that's what they are. You can't be pissed off at them for that. You don't want to continue to talk to Carla, you can do that. But they not bringing you back information about Carla and what she's saying about you or whatever. They not being messy. You being messy. Okay? And Karen was right in that. All right? I didn't understand your thinking either. You know, when Drita was sitting down with Big Ange and Brittany, you know, she was going through all this stuff and basically saying that Renee is the main root of all the problem. And I was just like, oops. And Brittany brought that information back to Renee. I was like, first of all, I was shocked that Renee went out on a dinner with Brittany and whoever else it was. And Brittany offered that information. I was like, oops, okay. Then we had this another little Brittany and Drita met up at the gym and they was talking and basically they was bonding over the fact that, whew, okay, keep that down. You know, acid reflux. It's been better, y'all. It's been better, as you can see. They bonded over the fact that, her mother had to see her father off to jail when she had it, and she was a baby. And then Drea also had young kids, and the husband had to go to, they was bonding over that shit. And at this point in time, we see that Drea and Brittany forming this bond. And I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, in the preview, when they did that super trailer or whatever, it was a thing where, Karen and Marissa was on this side, and Drita and Brittany was on this side. And then next thing you know, Brittany and Marissa went at it, and Drita and Karen was going at it. And remember, now that I'm looking at it, it's kind of odd and strange because, and we see how shit's flipping, because Karen brought Brittany into the group. Renee brought Marissa into the group. So I was like, I can't wait to see how that transpired. I can't wait to see Brittany and Marissa get into a fight. You know it's gonna happen. We already know it's gonna happen. I just want to see who's gonna whoop who ass, or how long it's gonna take before security break that shit up. You know what I'm saying? If it even happens. But moving on from that, they had this other meeting. If I'm skipping some shit, at the end. I felt bad for Big Ange. Big Ange went to go talk to her lawyer and basically trying to see what she can do, any legal way she can get her job back, her business back. And basically there's nothing she can do because she is a convicted felon and all this stuff. And it's kind of fucked up because that was her source of, one of her main source of income besides this show. And, I feel bad, but, the law was the law. And, the law can be fucked up, but sometimes we gotta abide by it. And, it just baffles me how all of a sudden now, 2015 or whenever this happened, her shit get taken away from her. Like, why would you wait now and do some stupid and shiesty ass shit about like this? Like, girl, she going through all this stuff. Like, people can be, you got to be careful who you let in your circle, okay? You got to be careful. Everybody ain't your friend. Everybody can't be an associate. Everybody ain't got your intentions, good intentions for you. They ain't got your back for real. They looking out for self, okay? Then after that, everybody basically meet up minus Drita. And basically, Big Ange was telling them what happened. And, they once again talking about the Drita situation. And it was some shit spill. Of course, Big Ange is trying to be like the mediator, the neutral party. She cool with everybody. She relaying messages and stuff. And she like, bitch, don't shoot the messenger because I don't want to be in this shit. Carla, you and Drita need to sit y'all asses down and y'all need to talk and figure this shit out. And I'm like, yes, devote like 15, 20 minutes to an episode so I can understand, like, break this shit down. Sit the fuck down so we can understand what the fuck it is so I can really see whose side I'm on in this crap, okay? Because at this point in time, I really don't know. Because I don't know what the fuck is going on, And then, Karen was talking about how she met up with Drita and what she said and all this stuff. And then Big Ange was like, Drita always had your back, Carla. No, Carla was like, no, I've always had Drita back. And then Big Ange put it out there like, Drita said she was there when that boyfriend was whooping your ass. And Carla looked and said, bitch, what? Wait a minute, where did you hear that from? Like, Drita told me. And then here go Renee. I mean, I heard about that too. And I think even Karen said something. And she was like, ain't this about a bitch? I told this bitch something in confidence, okay? And she going around spreading it to the whole fucking Staten Island. And I said, oopsie. I even kind of pissed at that too. If I'm telling somebody, if I say, this is between me and you, let that be between me and you. I don't need you spreading into this bitch, this bitch, this bitch, okay? Because if that's the case, I would have sat everybody down in the circle, or we would have had a fucking conference call on the telephone and been like, bitch, he whooped my ass, okay? I don't know what to do. I would have did some shit like that, okay? But if I'm telling you, that means I obviously feel more of a connection with you right about now, and that's who I want to trust and put 100% full faith in right now. But then you're going to destroy that trust by telling everybody, child, I can't wait to see how this shit play out. If I miss something, tell me in the comments and we going to discuss this shit because y'all was discussing it. Okay? Wasn't nobody here for love ass last week. Bitch, love is just, okay. Y'all was like, the bitch switched the story up like 15 times. It was Renee. It was Drita. Oh, yeah, because Drita got pissed off and was like, y'all seen Love talking about me. Why y'all ain't say nothing? And I was like, oh, yeah, Karen, if you know what the truth is. Because Karen was like, bitch, I don't know what the truth is. I said, somebody do. But y'all tell me how y'all feel about it, and I'll see you guys later. Peace. Somebody gonna say that's Illuminati. Watch.